Hello.
Hey, hi Victor.
Thank you for doing this. So I've started the recording. Are you ready to answer some questions?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Um, so the first question is, please share a story about your experience moving to a new place. Thank you.
Sure. So it's a long story. Pretty much back in, I guess this was around like 2016, I just kind of needed a change. I quit my full-time job at an advertising agency and ended a relationship and was just really looking for a reason to kind of start fresh. And it seemed like a good time in my life to embrace going to a new place and embrace a new culture. So I just decided to try and find a way to make that happen. And I figured out I could teach English abroad, and I moved myself to Thailand. So I bought a one-way ticket, and it's kind of like a bold move. I don't know if it's like the norm, but just kind of got myself over there. I had never been to that part of the world before and didn't know anyone, and just had like a vague sense of a plan. So there was a lot that kind of went into, the logistics of like getting myself over there. And then a lot of very new things I had to figure out once I landed over there. But my goal was just to go for at least 6 months, and then that turned into almost 3 years. So it was a pretty significant move for me.
Yeah, I would definitely. So you moved from the US to Thailand?
Yeah, yeah, sorry. So I moved from Louisiana. I'm based in New Orleans. So moved from home, Louisiana to Thailand. And specifically, I moved to Phuket, Thailand.
Oh, that's very interesting. Um, so how was the process? Like, how long did you like stay there, and how was adjusting to moving to Thailand? Was there any challenging events?
Yeah, so the process, like once I like made the decision and then actually took the flight, I think it was a matter of like maybe like I gave myself like at least 3 months, I think. I based it off of I found online and in person TOEFL course out there. So it was teaching English as a foreign language to get certified to teach over there because I don't have a teaching degree. So I kind of based my timeline off of when that was going to start, and then made the decision. I told everyone I knew that I was doing it, so I couldn't back down. And then began the process of trying to figure out the logistics of like what all do I need to get in order here, because I never really traveled in another country as an adult. I had as a kid, but not as an adult. So like visas and just every all the documents I needed. And then in terms of like just logistics of getting from the airport to where I need to be, like what is the transportation system like there? What is the language barrier I'm going to be facing? All of these little things that went into it. I remember one of the hardest things I was struggled to handle was getting travel insurance that would cover medical for like an extended period of time. I had a hard time. I had to go through like a bunch of different companies because I think there's better solutions nowadays, but when I was looking to do this, it wasn't quite the typical thing to do like an open-ended trip. So that was something I faced. And then, yeah, once I was out there, it was just kind of like struggles of acclimating to a whole new culture. There was some language barrier issues, and um, yeah, the weather, like it was so hot and humid. The transportation system over there, they drive on the left and we are on the right. Just little things like that that you don't really think about until you get out there and then you're experiencing it. And yeah, it's a process, but it's also really exciting and new and cool. Did I answer that question now?
Yes, thank you very much for sharing. I'm also teaching, but I'm teaching art and I teach 5 to 6 years old.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I was wondering if you enjoyed teaching English did you teach at a elementary school or
I
somewhere?
taught at a kindergarten, so it was ages like as young as 2 years old to I think our oldest was around like yeah 5 6. Um, I really enjoyed it. I lucked out. I really liked my school, and my school was like a private school in Phuket, and we focused on like it was very like arts focused. So there was a lot of like theater, and we had a lot of like performances and kind of like dress up days and just very artistic and creative, and I love all that stuff. So it was super fun. I had a Thai co-teacher that helped me so she could kind of like communicate with the parents because sometimes that was a struggle with the language. But the kids were great. They're so just happy, and that kind of attitude is contagious, and they just like embrace everything. And so I had so much fun. I was nervous to get into education because I had never taught especially like kids, so it was all new, but yeah, I really loved it.
Yeah, like definitely working with kids, every single day, it's like a surprise, right?
Hmm. To keep you on
Yeah,
your toes.
exactly. Never know what they'll come up with.
Exactly.
And was it like a culture shock for you? And how did you like adjust to the food? Did you like it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love the food. I knew I loved Thai food going in, but the food was definitely exceeded my expectations. It was, obviously better there because it's actually you're in Thailand eating Thai food. And I love spicy food, so that was great. But I will say like their level of spice is next level. I remember at my school, we had, the ladies who would prepare lunch for the kids, and then they would also prepare a lunch for teachers, like a separate lunch. And they would make it so insanely spicy that half of the teachers that were foreign like couldn't eat it.
Oh,
um, so even though we would like ask them like, please, maybe not so much, but yeah, it was great. I will say that I when I went out there, I knew I loved Thai food, so I was really excited to like eat Thai food all the time. I thought like I'm not gonna get sick of it. Like it's I'm sure I'll get sick of it eventually, but not for a while. And within I would say like 2 weeks, I was just like so ready for some like Western style food or just Mexican or something different, just some variety. So that was like interesting. And I ended up finding, my core go-to places, but that took some finagling of like just learning about like where's the good place to go get like, a breakfast burrito. It does that exist? Where's the best pizza? Just these little things because it was where I was very like touristy, so it was trying to find like the good places that aren't just like tourist traps and tourist food. um so yeah. And then culture wise, it was an adjustment, just because there's just so many things different than like the east does than the west, and things as like silly as like the bathrooms. And I remember my bathroom was like all one room, like a wet room, so that was like so strange to me coming from America. But you just quickly get used to things, and I was definitely there to embrace a new culture, and um, everything was awesome. Like I was happy to like discover all the differences, and then I have my Thai coworkers at my school as locals that I could interact with and discuss all these things, and had kind of like a community within that. So that was great.
Yeah, that's very good to know that you were able to find the food that like suits your tastes because the stuff they made at school is like very spicy. It's pretty accessible, right? But it's just too spicy
Yeah,
for
I mean,
for
I
the
liked it. Like like the flavor was great, but it would leave like my mouth on fire for sure.
was it like the curry or was it like the other like
Yeah, they would do
bread?
these curries, in particular the green curry, and the flavor was so good, but I would just be like crying.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, thank you for sharing.
hmm
Um, I the next question for me is if you could do this again or move to a new place in the future, would you do things the same or make some changes?
Ooh, good question. I would absolutely do it again in a heartbeat. I would probably make some changes. Just, hindsight's always 2020. I think that one thing I was really lacking when I was out there was um I don't know, just like a core sense of community, because I made some friends and I had my coworkers, but I kind of felt lonely at times and just like a bit adrift. Because I went out there, like it was like traveling solo and moving to a new place solo. So, and then my support system was across the world back home. So I'm not sure how I would do it differently, but that was definitely something that I like if I were to do it again, I would want to try and maybe like have a better experience with. I kind of, I found my footing there, but um I ended up staying there longer than maybe I would have otherwise, because I kept thinking like, okay, I'll find like my tribe here. And then it just like didn't work out that way. And then after leaving Phuket, I ended up traveling around Southeast Asia like for 9 months, just backpacking. And I met tons of friends, and definitely had a point where I was like, man, I wish I would have started this process of like moving around and being more nomadic sooner, rather than kind of like staying in Phuket and kind of like hoping that I'll meet like a really coarse group of friends and expats. Because when I got out into the world and started moving around more, then that's kind of where I met like my really good friends that I'm still friends with today. So that was something that yeah, maybe I would do differently, like maybe not stay in one place for quite as long if I'm not finding what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm. I think it's great that you were able to eventually find and build lasting connections.
hmm
And I was thinking if it's like an abroad thing, maybe it was like building some connections with the teachers at the school or with the coworkers, or maybe use some other way to like build connections when you were teaching. So
Right, yeah. I will say I like made friends, like majority of my friends there were my coworkers, but it was interesting because I was out there to, to work and take in the culture and everything, but my main motivation for being out there was to try and travel around a bit and enjoy this like beautiful place I'm it's giving 6 months to, ended up being longer than that, of my life too. So like, and the beauty of Thailand and countries over there is it's so cheap to travel around. So like on a weekend, I we could potentially go to like a whole nother island for a whole weekend for a very affordable price. And it's not like a big to do of like, I need to fly far. And so it was like very feasible to kind of like hop around on the weekends and our time off. And being a teacher, we got a good amount of time off. So that was kind of my main reason of being out there, was trying to just like soak all that up as much as I could. And one of the things I kind of like problems I noticed was my coworkers, my other teachers, I think it was just luck of the draw, but most of them were ended up being there a longer period of time. And so they were kind of established as like, this is my home base for a long time. So most of them were keen to be friends, but they weren't as like ready to like go off on an adventure on weekends, because their weekends were just spent doing, the mundane like XYZ of life, like grocery shopping and laundry and everything. So yeah, that was just like something that like I had friends that were coworkers, but they weren't like on the same wavelength as me of like, let's go do this, let's go do this. Make the most of our time here. So
Right. And you said you were there for like 6 months, right? And it's like a whole semester. And did the
I actually ended
school,
up being there for like well, in Thailand, like I would say a year and a half in Phuket.
oh, a year and a half teaching school?
Yeah.
Did they organize any like fun field trips that was interesting?
Yeah, we did field trips, went to the zoo, aquarium, we went to like a bird thing, I'm trying to remember. A lot of things with animals, I guess. Um, yeah, just like fun little activities for the kids. Which was it was fun for me too.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. And the
Mhm.
next question is what would make the process easier?
Um, Good question. I think kind of like I was saying in the beginning, like like I feel like traveling is a process and you learn uh, from all the different, scenarios you find yourself in that are like, how did I get myself into this situation? And then how am I going to get myself out of it? Like, I just remember just finding myself into situations where like I'm on a bus with, like, 20 people and I'm the only foreigner, and none of them speak my language, and I have no idea if the bus is going in the way I want it to go, like if I'm on the right track. And but somehow things would like always end up working out. um so I think that's kind of the beauty of traveling, is like you just kind of go with the flow and learn as you go, and you grow from being in these kind of like uncomfortable situations, and then realizing that like everything works out and people are always like super willing to help you as well. It's something I definitely learned. Um so I think like, you know, that's kind of a good thing about traveling. But if we were to make things easier for ourselves and not always end up in these situations, like I don't know, there's so many different things that I could be specific about, but maybe in terms of like getting like starting the process of traveling, like if all the information was in one area instead of me having to kind of like hop around all kinds of different like sources, like government websites to look up visas, and then maybe like you find overviews of like make sure you bring this and this and this document on like different travel blogs. Like if all of that was kind of consolidated, because I found the process of like when I was actually like researching and trying to get myself out there to be pretty overwhelming with just the abundance of information that you have to take in. And also just planning trips between places while I was out there. Like if I would like had to go on a visa run and I ended up going to Malaysia, like how am I gonna, it's just the ins and outs of planning a trip can be overwhelming. So maybe something that kind of like simplifies that process would be really helpful. I don't know if I answered that well, but
Yeah, something to provide the resources and what type of restaurants, like to help somebody find like non-spicy food would be interesting, right?
right. So something that you don't have to jump all over the place for, like go to a million different websites to like try and track down, yeah, top like restaurants. Like if you just have like a reliable source of like, be sure you bring XYZ document if you're going to go to this country because these are the rules, or when you're here, make sure to stop at this coffee shop. Something like that would be definitely helpful.
Yeah, maybe you could write something to suggest if somebody's going to Thailand because you know all the places, right?
Right.
Yeah. Um, Thank you for your time, and I was wondering if there's anything else that you would like to share before we end.
um just that I loved my time abroad and my experience. I recommend everyone do something like that at some point in their life. I'm doing my topic on moving to a new place, which I haven't narrowed down the specifics yet, obviously, but doing something similar. So I've been like having these same kind of wavelengths of like thought about like, what could be helpful to people. And it's such a broad topic and there's so much, but I think there's definitely like room for a lot of solutions out there. So it's cool that we're getting to think about it.
Yeah, definitely. I had a conversation with a fellow cohort. Her name is Alize, and
Hmm.
she's also doing like traveling, like a project on the topic of like traveling from Europe to Australia. And
Right, yeah.
it's definitely a very interesting topic, and which is also the reason why I picked it. And I would also love to help you out once you have your discussion ready and general direction ready. I'm not sure if you're going to focus on like doing something abroad or just generally relocating to some place for work or for school. But I do have experience abroad as well as relocating for university from
Okay.
California to New York. Study abroad experience, I have moved to Japan to study for a
Mm.
semester. So yeah, let me know if you'd like help.
Yeah, I definitely will. That's really cool, and I think I will need your help. Are you doing the full-time or part-time track, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm full-time right now.
Okay. I think that's why because I was talking to Alize, is that how you say her name? Alize. I was talking to her as well, and she told me. But yeah, I see like all you guys are like a bit ahead of me, so I'm not quite there yet. So I'm still trying to narrow it down. But I think that yeah, it'll definitely be something where I can use your help. So I'll definitely reach back out and we can do this again.
Yeah, looking forward. Thank you very much.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye.